guys, happy Saturday. It's a little drizzly outside, a little rainy, but it's springtime, so we're gonna have our really hot days and then drizzly days. It's actually not that cold outside. Actually, it's not cold at all. It's just drizzly and like kind of warm. Which, if it's gonna be drizzly, that's the kind of drizzle I would like, is a warm drizzle. Anyway, I will just wait for folks to come on in. It was a little dark upstairs to do today's live chat, so I figured I'd come down here where we have a giant sliding glass window. What up, SNO? But I guess it's so bright, it's kind of washing me out, so whatever, I'm gonna be pale as a ghost for this live chat. I have the Wally Walito with me, and Loki is upstairs taking a little nap ski. Oh, and I have my little San Diego Zoo sloth shirt on, my spirit animal. But anyway, how are your Saturdays going? I hope you guys are having a lovely Saturday. Oh, Loki. He's going to his other sleeping spot, which is on top of the couch. Yep, there he goes. So, yeah. Is it rainy? Is it warm? Is it snowing? Like, what's going on over there? You guys have a wonderful week, Did you get to play some board games or make any crafty fun? Like, what'd you guys do? Hey, Sherry Bug and Kristen, hello. So yeah, as you saw in the thumbnail, I have some stuff set up down here. This is kind of like my headquarters now, because this is where I'm going to be doing my online teaching for my students. So English is on Mondays. So, pushing out my lesson plans on Monday in just a couple of days, start our online learning, our distance learning. So my little wooden, whatchamacallit, bed table, which I've never really used. I'm going to use it for my distance learning. Okay, looks like we're back. Internet's a little weird right now, but hey, like for the PI, my grandfather is from Cebu. Sherry Bug says, been reading more for my spiritual path, did a self-dedication on Easter, so need to study more. Excelente. On my Instagram stories, I posted yesterday that, okay, so in the past, couple of months, for me, I'm always connecting with spirit, right? I'm always connecting with energies, and many of us are in our different ways, and some people are connecting with spirit energy and they don't even know it, or they're not cognizant of it. But I think it's really ramped up in the past couple of months of it just seems like the spirit energy is a lot more clear and it's a lot more intense. And I mentioned that in my last live chat. And yesterday, I was going to say last night, but it was pretty much all day. It seemed like there were just spirits coming in and out of my house, not to stay in my house, but just kind of passing through. And I don't usually see spirits with the naked eye. I usually see it with my third eye and the use of my other senses. But it was I was visually seeing spirits passing through my house with my eyeballs. I was like, oh, it's another dark mist going by, or it'd be a white mist going by, or just a shadow going by and another white mist going by. And I was like, holy cow. Oh, thanks, Wally. Wally is always trying to wash me. He needs to keep his humans clean. So lucky you. I felt so disjointed this past month. I'm not protecting myself like I should. And you were talking about before that you're a little worried about your elderly parents, during this time. And there's, probably a lot weighing on you right now, a lot of worry and anxiety and all of that. So, I could understand, why you wouldn't have time, or, other things would be an afterthought of self-energetic protection and things like that. But it could be just, when you wake up in the morning, instead of having to do a whole thing or a selenite wand or a Palo Santo or whatever it is that people usually do to cleanse themselves, just make it a mental thing, on the way to work or whatever. Is just, I am protected and my family's protected. And then just know that, it's okay, you know, for the rest of the day that you are protected. For me, usually when I would leave for work in the morning, but I'm not leaving for work, I'm like going to be working from here. I just say, I thank you to my spiritual team for protecting me energetically, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then I'm good. And then I don't have to do like a big, you know, full thing. And Susie is here. She said, "What's up?" So yeah, Sherry Bug, I hope, you know, you can maybe use that idea. Oh, Loki, what's up? Is there birdies out there? Is that the dude? I'm like, did my boyfriend just walk by the front yard? I hope that was my boyfriend and not a weirdo that's in my front yard right now. That's probably why Loki was meowing. He's like, Dad's here. Aw. Okay, well, yeah, that was probably my dude. We'll just pretend that is. Hey, Garrett. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw him in his work shirt. Yes. This is maybe more spirits. That one was actually a physical person. I think that was actually my boyfriend walking by. I could see him walk past like the kitchen window, and you know what, just to double check. And Wally's running over to the door, which probably means my boyfriend's home. But you know, we'll just double check, you know. Make sure I don't have to bring out the crossbow. Hello. The boys ran over to the door for you. Yes. Hey, boys. Okay, back we go. Back to blown out highlights. Sorry for the creaking of the tripod. Okay, let's see. Sherry Bug's like, Daddy's home. Yes, that's why they're running to the door for their daddy. Kristen's like, we all have to know now. Alrighty. So anywho, I have lots of stuff all set aside for you guys today. So let's go over some of those things. And Amanisha's here. What's up? Hold on, let me lift this up again. There we go. Sorry for all the creaking. I'm just like trying to adjust everything. Okay, so I got my tea. What tea is it today? My boyfriend makes my tea, so let's see. Amanisha says too much. Well, hopefully it's not overwhelming, you know. One piece at a time. I have the Republic of Tea Get Burning tea. I think that's what I'm drinking. Yes, it's the Get Burning tea. It's like a metabolism booster. Wow, I am so ghostly white. Well, in today's live chat, Tara turned into a ghost. It was quite family-ish. Anyway, other things that besides my tea that I have set aside for you. Amanisha says, of course it's overwhelming, but that's why I come to see you. Oh, well, thank you. Hopefully I can be entertaining today, you know, brighten up your guys' day, have a little bit of fun, you know, before you guys carry on with your weekend. Cold as fire, what up? This is your live good morning. Beautiful, yay. Garrett changed the altar again. Hey, you know, I haven't really been called to change my altar yet. Usually with like at least a few times a season, I'll change it up, but it's just, I don't know, it just like kind of feels right now. So I haven't really changed anything. I'll change out some candles, but that's about it. Okay, so let's see. First thing I have set up, I have my 1001 spells, which actually I haven't busted out this book in forever. And I was like flipping through it and I was like, wow, there's like good stuff in here. So later on, I thought I would do like a little like flip through bibliomancy spell for you. You know, instead of pick a card, pick a spell. And Pixie is here. Hey, Pixie. And Sharon Beck said, ooh, fun. Okay, so that's put aside for you guys. I also have out, I wanted to use with you, because I don't think I've used this with you yet, is the cat Ouija board with the little paw, like planchette. So I thought that would be fun, you know, to use this. And I really like the energy of that because it's got that, you know, kitten, sweet energy. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I feel like, you know, our old cat Presley, if I'm going to use something like that, like he's our little protector on the other side. So you help out with that. My stone that I've been carrying around for, I don't know, the past few weeks is my angel light. So that's what I'm going to have during my live chat. Kristen thinks it's cute. It is. It's so adorable. Like, I can't believe I just kind of like ran into that on Etsy. The lady has a really cool shop too. So all you have to do is type in like cat Ouija board and like her shop will pop up. Amanisha, I've heard not so good things about that board. Really? Like Ouija boards, like the Milton, is it made by Milton Bradley? Like the one they would sell in like the toy section of Toys R Us, which my mother got my brother and I one year. She's like, oh yay, I got you kids a Ouija board. You should have a Ouija board. I'm like, I never really liked bringing that out. I don't know, that was just like never my bag, but like maybe because I watched so many movies where it's like demons come up from the Ouija board, so it was like implanted in my subconscious that was like not something to utilize. But I do have two boards. I have, you know, this one, and then I have my spirit board that I've brought out before, and I feel like the energy of both of those are really good. So I don't know, for some reason the like old school looking Ouija board, like that just gives me the creeps, but these two are okay. Sherry Bug says, I kind of want the really colorful one like you have. Yeah, that's the my spirit board. And I do like that one because there's a lot of stuff that's on that. Loki, what are you doing? Loki's trying to open up the sliding door. You know, it's got like, it's got trees, it's got crystals, it's got letters, it has, you know, the elements, it has the directions. It's got a lot of stuff on that board. So, you know, I like that one for all of its information. This one obviously is just really like simplistic. It's just your alphabet, some numbers, some yes and no, and bye. The little sleepy kitty. Okay, let's see, let's go here. Garrett said, or Annabelle's spirit. Kristen said, my aunt is terrified of Ouija boards. Anything about them, she truly feels they open a gateway to bad spirits. Yeah, the original ones are kind of creepy looking. We loved playing with it as kids. Yeah, my mother like would bust it out and like want us to use the Ouija board, and I would just like get the creeps because our house was like, the energy of our house was not good anyway, but that's probably due to the energy of like our family, which wasn't that great anyway. So it was like just pumping, you know, negative energy into an environment that already has negative energy. So it's like bringing in something like that, I think just amplifies those things. But in my opinion, I don't like know everything. Obviously, I'm not like, I'm just like Tara. But, you know, I feel that if you are coming from a good place, you know, your intentions are good, you're not wary, you know, scared, you keep your environment as high vibe as possible, you're in like the right mindset, and you know that negative spirits and trickster spirits are not what you want to deal with. You know, in the moment you start to feel creeped out like that, you know, you just shut it down instead of like, ooh, what's going to happen next? You know, I think that that's just like a safer way to go about things. I don't know. That's just me. Let's see. Amanisha, sorry I'm lost and need some clear answers. I like the spirit board. Yeah, the spirit board I think is a lot more clear than like this one would be. Kristen said, and scaring ourselves. Exactly. I think a lot of it is just us scaring ourselves. Pixie agrees. Intention makes a huge difference. Yes. Sherry Bug, yes, we did scary Ouija board sessions at high school sleepovers. Kristen said, my extremely old school and very Christian grandma owned that original Ouija board too. It was so weird that she did. That's weird. Well, actually, see, my mom, she became uber, well, she wasn't like super Catholic before, but she became uber Catholic when she started like cheating on my dad. Hold on. Well, I'm like over there, like my family's jacked up. But anyway, let me go look at what's on the window over here. Hold on, I have to change the view for you guys. Loki, are you waiting for him to come back in? Loki tries to figure out how to open this.
Why did you lock me in the backyard?
I didn't do it.
He did that?
Yeah, I heard it click.
Okay.
Either that or he watched it click itself.
Nah.
Yeah, I think that was Loki making that clicking noise. So, Loki locking Dad out in the backyard. Living up to your name. Yes, yes. Oh, Lokester. Wally's like, I've seen him do it. I'm a good boy. I was just sitting here. Oh, I was keeping out the bad spirits. Oh, Loki. Anyway. I was like, why is he knocking on the glass? Oh, he's locked out. Okay. And we're back. So many exciting things. Everybody laughing at Loki. Yes. Oh, okay. So going back, Cold as Fire said, I always heard bad things from everyone I knew who messed with those. Depends on the board, I believe, like you said, and intention. And Garrett said, nothing like opening up the spirit door and seeing what's on the other side. Garrett's like, well, that went from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds. Poor Loki is so lonely. Garrett's like, when you said your mom cheated on your dad. Okay, yeah, I know. I just like, that was like giving background of like why my mom became uber Catholic all of a sudden. She was like cheating on my dad and all this stuff. Hold on. I'll be right back. Gosh, there's so much excitement this morning. Loki's in timeout. He's gonna spend like a few minutes. He wanted to jump Wally. Wally doesn't understand cat wrestling. Like, that's not, he doesn't compute that. So he thinks he's being attacked. So like Loki can't jump on Wally because Wally goes into like, I'm fighting for my life mode. So that's when I just have to separate them. And Loki, being like twice Wally's size, like doesn't understand that he's a lot bigger and a lot stronger. So just have to, I'm out of breath because I had to run up the stairs. Whew. So he's just in timeout for just a few minutes and then we'll bring him back out again. Anyway, let's see. Amanisha, did you get the painting I sent you? Yeah, I emailed you back that I thought it was lovely. You know, the one that you emailed, right? I have it actually up on my computer. Garrett said, my cat isn't like that. It's all twisted Pinocchio and Geppetto stuff. Kristen said, we also love to try and levitate a friend with our fingers. Oh my gosh, I used to do that while they laid down after the movie The Craft. Heck yeah, I remember The Craft. I saw it in the theaters. Did anyone else do that? We really thought we could do it. Always sleepover fun. Sherry Bug said, kitty drama today. Yes. And Amanisha never got my email. Oh, I always email you right back whenever you email me. Coldest Fire says, I know I did. Yeah, so yeah, I remember that was something that like my friends and I would do. And sometimes we would do that in the girls' bathroom, which I know is kind of gross because then you have to lay on the girls' bathroom floor. But we would turn out all the lights in the girls' bathroom and then like close the door. We're like, quickly, we're going to levitate somebody. And yeah, that never happened. We tried that too, but not sure it ever worked. Yeah, Sherry Bug. I mean, we'd be like, are they floating? Maybe they're not floating. Are they moving? We don't know. We would do that. Or what are some of the other scary things? Because gosh, I don't know. We used to do a lot of stuff to scare ourselves, I guess, when we were little, young and dumb. Oh, Loki's upstairs in timeout. Brian. Hello. Hello. I said Loki's upstairs in timeout.
Huh?
I said Loki's upstairs in timeout. He tried jump Wally.
Very nice.
Weird stuff always happened in school bathrooms. Yes, it did.
Weirder now.
Sherry Buck said Bloody Mary. Oh, I did that in elementary school and a little bit in middle school. That was too scary for me, actually. Right? We sure thought we were really doing, yes. And Coldest Fire says I was going to say Bloody Mary. Yeah, we would, okay, so yeah, we did the playing around with Ouija boards, which would always creep me out, so I really wouldn't want to do that. And then, yeah, we would do the thing where, you know, you lay your friend down and then all of us take our 2 fingers, we place it under our friend and we like try to see if we could levitate our friend. That never worked. We were wondering if it did. And then there was Bloody Mary, which that also freaked us out as well. And then there was La Llorona, which I don't know if you guys had that in your area, but like I have a lot of Mexican friends because, you know, I'm like right near Mexico. So, we'd always like try to summon La Llorona, you know, the woman who drowned her children, you know, like, why? I don't know. What was some of the other stuff we did? That's another one that was super creepy. Scared the bejesus out of fire, Coldest Fire. Amanisha also remembers Bloody Mary. And Sherry Bug said Bloody Mary was too scary for me. Yeah, I remember I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I think Bloody Mary's going to be coming for me. And I remembered I was getting really scared to like go into any rooms in my house at night. My mom was like, what is your issue? And I was like, okay, so in the girls' bathroom at school, because I was like in 6th grade at the time, I was like, my friends and I did Bloody Mary, and I think she's coming. And my mom's like, you said a name in a mirror in the dark, and now you think there is a poltergeist coming to get you? And I was like, yeah. And my mom's like, okay, show me how this spirit or this demon comes out. I was like, no, because it'll come out. My mom's like, no, it's not real. She's all, that's just you and your friends trying to scare yourselves. And I was like, no, it's a real story, like really. And so my mom's like, okay, because she had this, there was this huge hanging mirror next to my parents' bed in their bedroom. And she was like, okay, show me, what you do. And I was like right now? My mom's like, yeah. And I was like, but Bloody Mary's gonna come out. And I was like, just do the thing. And I was like, okay. So I was doing the thing where you're supposed to turn a certain number of times and you're supposed to say Bloody Mary a certain number of times. And I like was closing my eyes the whole time. And then when I was all done, I like wouldn't look in the mirror. My mom's like, look in the mirror. And I was like, my mom was like, what do you see? I'm like, nothing. She's all, it's just me and you, right? And I was like, yeah. She's all, so there's no such thing as Bloody Mary. She's like, ugh. You and your friends need to stop scaring yourselves. Let's see. Coldest Viruses was going to ask if you lived in New Mexico. I live in California, but it's right. Like I'm right. Right. Like I can see Mexico at night. Like that's how close we are to the border. Garrett said, I would hold a sage doing Bloody Mary. Well, when I was in 6th grade, I didn't even know I knew what sage was because it grows in our area. I just didn't know about like smudging yet. Yes, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. And we had one cemetery that had a woman's portrait on a tombstone and her eyes would watch you. Dude, who does that on a tombstone? Like, that's creepy. Like, why? Says, OMG, my mom did that to me with Charlie Charlie. I don't know about Charlie Charlie. We used to tell so many ghost stories too and try to freak ourselves out. And we probably read too many of those scary stories to read in the dark books that they used to have in the school library. We were always checking out like scary story books. I loved watching, well, I probably wasn't supposed to be watching Tales from the Crypt, which was on HBO at like, I think it was at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, which was too late for me, but I would want to watch a little bit of Tales from the Crypt. But my mom never wanted me to watch scary stuff because she always said I would have nightmares. But my summers, I always spent up in the desert with my grandparents, and my grandma was all about the scary movies. So she said as long as I never told my parents, I could watch all the scary movies I wanted, which probably led to some really messed up nightmares. Sherry Bug loved the Crypt Keeper. It's kind of humorous now, but like you look back on it, like if you were a kid watching Tales from the Crypt, you'd be like, that's kind of scary, but it's actually kind of funny. And the Crypt Keeper is kind of like funny, cute. Coldest Virus said Tales from the Crypt read my mind. Yes. And then I used to watch at my grandparents' house, my grandma, I would watch Tales from the Dark Side. You guys ever watch that? Like the music and the intro was super scary to me. And then let's see, what else was scary? I'd watch, America's Most Wanted. That scared me too. And Unsolved Mysteries. Oh, Unsolved Mysteries. Let's see. Unsolved Mysteries would scare the crap out of me. Like even the music leading to Unsolved Mysteries. I would literally like the Twilight Zone. Oh, the newer version of the Twilight Zone, actually, yeah, that used to creep me out too. My mom always wondered why I rented The Ring. I would never watch The Ring again, no. I went to the theaters with some friends back when I was in college. Yeah, The Ring came out when I was in college. I was in college and I went with some track and field friends and we went and saw The Ring, and it would and it would get so I had my hands like this and I was scooting farther and farther and farther down my seat until I was practically underneath the seat in front of me. I was like so scared. Sherry Bug said, In Search of, narrated by Leonard Nimoy. In Search of never frightened me, but I love that show, by the way. And freaking Spock, yes. Beyond Belief. Oh, I remember that one too. Garrett said, why? I can't watch it, but not the Crypt. Amanisha said, creepy little girl. I mean, I think me and my friends were all about scaring each other and creepy. And of course there's like, there'd be, the ghost stories my family would tell mixed with like the ghost stories of like my friends in the area, and they would have like, there'd be a lot of like superstitions and like old folk tales, because we grew up in a very like Mexican area. So of course there was like the tales of La Llorona, and then there was the tales of the Chupacabra, and and there was like all these like other like all these weird like demon things, and things to places that you don't go down because that's where El Diablo lives, and things like that. Garrett said Ghost Adventures. Oh, that is my favorite TV show. I love Ghost Adventures. I would want to go adventuring with them. Amanisha said The Girl in the Ring. That girl creeps me out. Oh, but have you guys ever seen the Japanese original? Like, it's The Ring, but it's the Japanese version of it. Or actually, they were the first ones that came up with it, and then we had the American version. But yeah, the Japanese Ring is like 10 times more scary than the American version of The Ring. It is freaking scary. The powers of the Lord compels the ring. Yes. She comes out of the TV. Yeah, that creeps me out. Sherry Bug.
Yoko Ono came out of the TV. Yeah, that's terrifying.
What?
Yeah, Yoko Ono came out of the TV. That's terrifying.
Then my dude said Yoko Ono came out of the TV. Anyway, I love the scary animal stories of all cultures. Chupacabra, Wendigo. Yes. Pixie said, I have seen the Japanese version. My heart probably stopped a few times throughout. You know what I'm saying? Amanisha says, now I have to watch the Japanese Ring. Girl, make sure you watch it when it's like broad daylight outside. Maybe leave the lights on when you go to bed. I told you guys that story one time when I stayed up watching Unsolved Mysteries, right? When I was growing up, because I told you guys that my house is like super haunted, right? Sherry Bug said, I wanted to watch it too. You and your friends are the real charmed ones. The Stand freaked me out. Really? So, let's see. The movie is way too scary for me. I don't watch scary movies anymore. Like, now that I'm out of college, and I don't need to scare myself anymore. Like, no, like because reality is enough. I don't need to also add in like extra scary things. So I don't read scary books anymore. I don't watch scary movies. Like, I'm not about that no more. No. Let's see. Coldest Fire said was 12. The Crow in the Cell. Really? Let's see. What else did I watch? When I was a kid. And again, this was not at my house. These would be things I would have to watch at my grandparents' house because my parents didn't let me watch scary things. But it would be like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, The Exorcist, the original Exorcist. That really did scare me. Like, I can't watch The Exorcist. Poltergeist freaking scared the crap out of me. I can't watch Poltergeist. Like, no. Anything Stephen King. Sharebug said, I read Stephen King. They scared me so much. Yes, and I've read a lot of the Stephen King books. And I always thought that the books were even scarier than the movies that they would come out with. They were like so twisted. Let's see. Coldest Fire says, now it's so cheesy. A lot of the stuff, I mean, maybe not Poltergeist and Exorcist, but like some of the stuff that I thought was scary then is like kind of like, really? Why was I so scared? Let's see. Essence says, I was just thinking that reality is already scary. Yes, Amanisha, I like to read Stephen King. Those movies made me laugh. Sherrybug, Halloween and The Exorcist, my two favorite scary movies. Coldest Fire after watching all The Exorcist. Garrett said, yes, you want scary? The Exorcist. Exactly. Amanisha, Freddy and Jason make me laugh. And Mike Myers. now that I look back on like, Freddy Krueger and Jason, it's like, it's kind of campy. Like, it's actually kind of funny. Whereas that scared me, when I was just like a little preteen, a little teenager. Okay, so, oh, sun's coming out. I'm gonna be even more whited out. Like, Michael Myers is so scary. Garrett said pea soup and the head spinning. Yeah, the vomiting pea soup, the person's head spinning, which I know is actually like physically impossible, but still, it's kind of freaky. So yeah, when I was in high school, and of course my bedtime got extended because I was like now in high school, so I got to go to bed at 10 o'clock. So I stayed up to watch Unsolved Mysteries. And of course, the music kind of already freaks me out. And I'm sitting on the couch in my parents' living room, and my mom decided she was going to go to bed. So she's like, "Just make sure you turn the TV off. When you're done, turn off all the lights." So I was like, "Okay." And so she went to bed, and it was like, I don't know, like maybe 15 minutes later. I'm chilling there on the couch, and we had the lights in the living room at we turned them down half because they were dimmable, so we turned them down half because it's nighttime. And I think the kitchen light was on too. I'm trying to remember. So let's say I'm facing the television, which is here. Off to the side here would be my kitchen, and then there's a door to the garage, and then there's a staircase that leads up, to the second floor. And then off to the side here is just like windows to the backyard. So I'm watching Unsolved Mysteries. And of course that show already creeps me out. So I'm already in like a creepy frame of mind. And all of a sudden, I noticed that the ceiling fan is starting to move slowly on its own in the living room. And I'm like, and there's no air, there's no windows open. So I was like, okay, I'll just ignore that, keep watching. And it starts to pick up momentum. And I'm like, and so I get up and I check the little dial to see if maybe somehow the ceiling fan accidentally got bumped. Maybe by my mom and it just now or something, I don't know. So even though she went to bed 15 minutes prior, so it's off. And I was like, well, why is the ceiling fan spinning? Oh, well. And then it stopped spinning. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever, maybe, whatever. Maybe we had a little mini earthquake that I couldn't feel, and the thing was spinning. So then I sit back down on the couch. And as soon as I sit down, the lights start dimming, dimming and raising. And I'm like, hey, Jezebel. And I was like, and then I look over to where the staircase would be, and the door to the garage, and upstairs we used to hear footsteps a lot upstairs, and so I can hear footsteps walking around up there, big heavy ones, and then I hear the steps going down the hall, and I hear the steps at the steps that I hear, I hear them at the top of the stairs. And I hear them start to come down the stairs going boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, so I ran so fast. I I had to actually run towards the, what I could hear on the staircase, because that's where the light switch is for the kitchen. And I knew I had to turn everything off. So I just ran with my eyes closed. I quickly turned off the lights, ran into the living room, clicked off the lights, and ran into my bedroom and just threw the covers over my head. And I was just shaking. And I think I just fell asleep like that. I was like, but that's how my house would be. I was so freaking scared of my house. Sharon Bugs is like, oh, hell no. Jezebel, did I walk in on ghost story time? You did. But you know, my house had a lot of ghost stories with my house. You know. Let me see. I'm trying to think of one of another like good story from my house that was I don't know. There's just so many of them. I mean, we have some from here, but here is not creepy. My old house growing up, that was creepy. Possession of Tara's house, yes. Pixie said, "Did your fam get along with the spirits in your home? Like, were they more residual?" So my mom didn't really believe in like ghosts. She more believed in like angels and stuff. And she would claim she wasn't scared of that stuff. My dad, however, even though he kind of sort of thinks maybe they're spirits, he would just think it's mostly just your imagination. And he would just call you like crazy if you said you like heard spirits or whatever. And my brother would always claim that there was something that lived upstairs, and my brother would call him the Red Man. And my dad would then, as punishment, lock him in the upstairs bedroom, like whenever he was bad, because he knew that upstairs is where my brother was most scared. So he would, you know, make fun of him and say like, "Oh, Felix the ghost." Like that was my dad's like name that he came up for. He's like, "Oh, Felix the ghost, so scared of Felix the ghost. You know, there's no such thing as ghosts, right? You know, you're just like being a big baby, you know." And my brother would just be terrified, just like tears, just like he didn't want to be up there. And he would usually take our family dog upstairs. Oh, thank you. He would usually take the family dog upstairs if he had to go use the restroom or something like that. And even our dog didn't want to go upstairs. Like, that should be a sign. This is, "Well, I think your portals are creepy." I don't think they're creepy. I like my portals in my house. Amanisha said, "Scroll up to my dream." Oh, did you post it in here? Let me see. Did I miss it somewhere? Amanisha, I think I missed it. Jezebel said, "I loved my home ghost. She would hold my hand at night and make sure we didn't fall on the stairs." Oh, that's nice. And Jezebel said, cruel dad." Yeah. Magical food disappearing. Let's see. Oh, you posted it. It's hard for me to scroll too much because all the comments are on my phone instead of like the computer. I can't really see all of the comments. So post it again. Just copy and paste and post it again so I can read out your dream too. Sorry, I'm hungry, you guys. The dude has made some eggs and sausage. Okay, sorry. I'm hungry. Like, I have to eat. I think Amanisha is just reposting her dream so that we can read it. Let's see, what else other creepy things happen? Oh, okay. So it says, "Don't eat in front of me. I haven't eaten breakfast." Amanisha said, "I had a dream that I told Jason to get out of my personal bubble. And I told Jason to get out of your personal bubble. It's freaking awesome. I love that dream." Coldest Fire says, "I love mine. She used to hide stuff from my husband at the time. She did not like him. She actually locked him out of the house one time." You know, like when we first moved in here, whatever was like in the house, you know, before we cleared it out, actually locked my dude in the backyard. And It was Loki, actually, this time that locked him in the backyard. Jezebel said, yum, eggs and sausage sounds like breakfast. Here, it's dinner time. This is actually more like lunch, but I have eggs anytime. It says, dude is a keeper, breakfast. Well, he did make breakfast too, and now this is lunch, but I like breakfast anytime. Maldizione? Garrett is now eating wheat thins. There you go. Okay, so let me tell you guys another spooky tale, since I guess we just got into the spooky mood for today's live chat. Talk with my mouth full. Okay, so this one was with me and my brother and I, and let's see, I was probably in high school, which would place my brother in elementary school, and so like his one job in the house, his only chore was to take out the trash. And then I had all the other chores. Anyway, so my brother went and took out the trash, and he came back in the house, and his eyes were really big, and I knew about this red man that he would talk about, because he was very scared, and that's why he wouldn't go upstairs. It says, I will too eat breakfast foods anytime, just not eggs, being a picky eater. Well, save me eggs anytime. I will eat eggs. I don't know if I'll eat green eggs, but I'll eat eggs. Green eggs and ham, or eggs and ham. And so my brother's like, I saw him staring at me from the upstairs window. I said, who'd you see? The red man. And I was like, where? Which room? And he says, he's in the sewing room. There was like 2 windows in front of the house. Like one is the like hallway window, and then like upstairs, and then the window next to it is my mother's like craft room, like her sewing room. And he says he was in the sewing room. I'm Italian, means damn. I would love to brush back up on my Italian. Maybe I'll do that during this quarantine. So my brother's like, he says he was like, I could see him in the window, and he was staring at me, and he was like, basically my brother was like so scared. He says, I think he was scaring me again. And I was like, you know what? I'm freaking tired of this red man. And I said, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to go make him go away. And my brother's like, no, like he could be very dangerous. And I was like, red man can't hurt me,
Looks like Wally got a piece too.
Let's see. Jezebel said, "Ah, poor kid, being scared to be in his own home." Yeah. Thrills of being the eldest. Yes. So, I'm like, nobody messes with my little brother. Like, I don't care if like you're physical or demon, like whatever. You don't mess with my brother. So, I'm like having this argument with my brother downstairs in the kitchen. He's like, no, don't go up there. No, it's like, he'll hurt you. Like you don't understand. He says, when grandma's spirit talked to me, she said to stay away from him. He's bad. And I was like, well, I got this. Like, I'm your big sis. Like, I got this, and so my mom comes into the room. She said, what are we talking about? And I said, so, like, my brother's name is Brian, and I was like, Brian says he sees that red man upstairs, and I'm about ready to go take care of him. And my mom's like, oh, I'll go with you. I'm like, okay. So we go upstairs. Excuse me. Cherrybug said, what a good older sister. Mine was a crap older sister. Excuse me, choking on my eggs. Okay, so we go upstairs, and my mom decides to walk in front of us. So I'm behind my mom, and my brother is like clenching like my shirt, and he's behind me. He's like, like holding on to me like for dear life. And I said, okay, Brian, where is he? And my brother's like pointing in the corner. He says, he's right there. He's looking at you. He's right there. And I was like, I don't see anything. You know, my mom's like, I don't see anything either. And so my mom's like, oh, what we have to do, we have to say the Our Father. So my mom, I'm like, okay, whatever. So my mom's in the background and she's like, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. You know, so she's saying the Lord's Prayer, and my brother's like, he's gonna hurt you, Tara. He's gonna hurt you. I see he has a knife, and I was like, he can't hurt me, you know. Amanisha says, not too late, totally subject change. But Tara, I forgot to tell you that one of my paintings was requested to put in a gallery, and I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, like, girl, high five. I would high five you. Like, that's freaking awesome. And hey, Carmen, you should be very proud of yourself, girl. I start going over into the corner and I'm trying to like feel around. And I said, is he here? Is he here? And my brother's like, you're kind of in him. And I was like, it was a little cooler in that corner of the room. And by the way, that was the creepiest probably room in the whole house, was my mother's sewing room, like of the whole house, that room. I didn't like that room. So I'm feeling around and it's kind of cool, but I was like, and my brother's like, he's trying to stab you. I could see it. And I was like, I don't feel anything, Brian. He can't hurt me, you know? And so I was like, hey, like basically like, you leave my brother alone. You want to mess with somebody? Like, you mess with me. I was like, you don't go around scaring little kids. Like, what kind of piece of crap are you? You know, basically. And so my mom's like, say the Lord's Prayer. So I'm like, okay. So like we're all saying the Lord's Prayer or whatever. And my brother's like, he's disappearing. And finally he disappeared. I was like, do you see him anymore? And my brother's like, no. I was like, okay, so that's it. I said, you know, next time you see him, you could say a prayer, or you just stand up to him, say, hey, you don't mess with me, you know? So I think my brother saw him obviously after that. He was still pretty scared, but I kept telling him, whenever you see him, you let me know. I said, I'll make him go away. That was, you know, that was like my job in the house is, if you get scared, you call on me. I make it go away. So yes, everybody congratulating Amanisha, which is freaking awesome. Thank you, Sherry Bug. Da, da. Oh, and then Susie, yes, Carmen did actually, the package showed back up on her doorstep, which was pretty cool. Hey, Waddy. Hey, Puma. Ew, on my hair. There's a Puma. So anyway, yeah, a crappy ghost man scaring little kids, getting prayered right in the face. Right in the face. I'm trying to think, because my brother was, I was terrified in that house, but I think my brother was most scared. I guess actually kind of sad. And like nowadays, my brother, who, he can still sort of sense things, but he found out the way that he can deaden that sense is like drinking and smoking and stuff. So my brother tends to drink rather heavily now, because he's got a lot of like issues anyway. But he's, you know, that's just another issue that he doesn't want to have, because it just like scared the crap out of him when he was a kid. I was pretty scared too, but I like didn't really embrace it till later on. Whereas I think he embraced it as a kid. It scared him. And then he's been trying to shut it down like ever since. So he lives up in near San Francisco now, but actually he says he might, hopefully if this whole thing gets lifted or whatever, he might be able to come visit at the end of April, which will be kind of cool. So but yeah, my brother was, it was kind of interesting between the two of us, because he would physically see stuff, whereas I would always just like feel stuff, or I would have like these really crazy vivid dreams, you know, where I talk to things. Yeah, so for me it was more like sensation. I would smell things, feel things, kind of in my third eye, sort of, and like I would dream things, whereas my brother, it was all very like physical in his eyes, like he could see them, which is, I think would be rather scary if you were a child. Susie's sending him like, well, thank you, yes, yes. If you guys want to send my brother good vibes, you know, I think he could use it. He's my baby brother. He's 6 years younger than me. Sorry, trying to eat my eggs before they get cold. Let's see. My brother, he told me, excuse me, when he, how old was he? It was when the movie The Sixth Sense came out. When did The Sixth Sense come out? Was that like 1997, 98? Was it somewhere in 96, 97, 98? I don't know. Jezebel said, I have seen spirits since childhood too. My dad did too, so I had a mentor to help me cope. Well, see, that's awesome. My Nana, you know, my grandmother, my dad's mother, I call her my Nana, she would also see spirits all the time, and she would tell me like what to do with them, and she was always like talking to spirits in her house, and it was just like no big deal, you know. Same with my aunt, it was like no big deal, like this is what we do, we just talk to spirits around here. Garrett says it was like my Troy house. We had a spirit, which by the way, my elementary school was built on a cemetery. I had found several skulls, but this ghost terrorized my house. There was freaking skulls where your elementary school was? That's jacked up. Like, they didn't bother moving the bodies. That's like pretty jacked up. Wow. I have no words for that. Sorry, I'm trying to like down these eggs so I can like finish my stories. In today's live chat, we watched her eat. News around the world, Tara eats. Okay, I'm almost done, you guys. Stewie icons, awesome. Almost done. Give me just a second. Because nobody wants cold eggs. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm almost done. Boom. This is all good eggs. Got to be warm. Yes. Pixie, I have to head off. Thanks for the company and the stories. Have a wonderful day. Yes, and Pixie, I hope I'm not giving you like nightmares with scary stories, but you have a good night. It says, yeah, and that makes it so much easier when adults believe you and tell you it's nothing to be afraid of. Exactly. Amanisha, when I was like 6, my sister was in high school, and this is our older high school. She said the smokestack next to it, that it was blowing black smoke, was a crematorium for little kids. Oh my gosh, that is awful of your sister to say. Jezebel said mukbang time. Oh yeah, right? I totally forgot about that. And the janitor would throw little kids into the crematorium when they were, oh my gosh, like, you know, sometimes older brothers and sisters could be mean like that. Kristen said, my Bluetooth earbuds battery went out and it's time for my little one's nap. Sorry, I'll miss the rest of this. Have a great live and weekend, everyone. You too, Kristen. Garrett said, oh, he was talking to Cold as Fire. So yeah. Okay, so I got one more story for you guys, and then I wanna bust out the cat Ouija. This is great, sister. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I could be a mean big sister. I would sometimes try to scare the crap out of my little brother, but that's how siblings are sometimes, you know. You love your siblings, but sometimes you just want to scare them. Hello, Loki. Hello. Oh, you've just come over for my food. Like, is that how we have a relationship? You're just here for food? Mm. Cold as fire, love these chats. Oh, I'm glad. As long as you don't mind the mukbang. I have one piece and then we're done. And then we're done, you guys. Give me a second. Okay. Loki's gonna clean that plate. Yes, feed the human slave. You guys can see he's actually cleaning my plate. Garrett said, I felt a satanic energy at my school. That's creepy. Sometimes, like, when there's already possibly a not so great energy that like a school has been built on, and then if you have an atmosphere in the school that isn't that great, I think it just like amplifies whatever negative energy is there. Of course, positive energy could also amplify positive energy, but I think that's how it is sometimes. If some place isn't great to begin with, and then the atmosphere of the building that's on top of it isn't great, and the attitude of the people maybe isn't great, that's just a recipe for creepy feels. All done into the Loki dishwasher it goes. Yes. Yes, Loki is all about the leftovers. He's very good about helping us clean our plates. Silly panther. Susie wants to know how long it took me to grow my hair. It's beautiful. Oh, thank you. Let's see. It was like here when my dude and I got together, and then it got to the length it is probably about I don't know, it took a few years. But I usually I give it a haircut like twice a year. So I usually take off like 3 or 4 inches twice a year because it grows about a half an inch each month. So I grow about 6 inches a year. It grows pretty fast. So I can afford to take off like a few inches every 6 months or so. Okay, so this is, the energy just spins out of control. Yes. Okay, so I was gonna tell you guys one last story. Should it be? I'll talk about the fire in my house. Not this house, like the house I grew up in, which was actually one of my grandfather's property, and my parents just like rented from my grandfather. Coconut is good for hair growth, yes, and it smells divine. And I have really oily hair, so I have to just like keep any oils and stuff like to the mid shaft down because girl is oily, too oily. So the night before we had a fire in my old house, I'm getting ready for bed, and I have this feeling that all of a sudden comes over me that I'm gonna get in trouble for something tomorrow. And I'm like, what am I gonna get in trouble for? And I was like, what did I not do? And I was like, okay, I cleaned the kitchen, I did the dishes. I was like, I picked up the living room. I helped my brother take out the trash. I'm like, what didn't I do? And I was like, I keep feeling like something, like I'm gonna get in trouble or something tomorrow, like something. I was like, oh, I hate that feeling. I was like, I was like, whatever. So I'm pulling back like the covers on my bed, and I hear my brother. He's like, Tara, and his room is across from mine. And I was like, what? He's like, I'm like, what? He's like, never mind. I'm like, okay. I was like, good night. He's like, good night. I'm like, I love you. Love you. So I get into bed, and I wake up. This is during the summer, by the way, so I'm not in school. And I what grade was I in? I know I was 16, so I was probably like a junior, maybe, in high school. So I'm like getting up early for some reason, and I don't normally get up early if it's summer, you know. So I'm just like laying there in bed, and the smoke detector outside my door starts going off. And the reason I didn't jump up and panic is because at sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning, our smoke detectors would all go off in our house, you know, once in a blue moon. So my parents had taken the disconnected them because I think some of them weren't on batteries. They're actually connected to like the electrical of the house. And so my parents just figured it was faulty wiring or whatever, so they just disconnected a lot of our smoke detectors, except for the one that was battery operated in between all the bedrooms. And so I figured it was just like whatever, the random smoke detector going off again in our home, until my brother comes racing and he's like in front of my door. And I just remember he was like, Tara, there's a fire. And I was like, get out of the house, you know? And so like I jumped out of bed, and I remember staring down the hallway, and I'm looking into the back portion of the house that had our sliding glass doors, and that we considered that like our playroom. It was like an extension to the house, and the doors were all closed, but you just like quietly see like this fire like spreading, like the computer's on fire, and like the table next to it had just lit up on fire. And I was like, oh, like it was just like so quiet. It was like kind of weird that it's just like quietly overtaking like half your house. And so then, hold on, I don't know if you guys can hear me because like my hair is on top of the microphone. So then I race across the kitchen and I go into the garage because I was pretty sure that there should be a fire extinguisher like right behind the door. And I look and there's no freaking fire extinguisher. And I'm like looking all over the garage and I'm like, how is there no fire extinguisher in this house? Like who doesn't have a fire extinguisher in their house? You know, and so I'm like, oh, so I ran upstairs to where my mom was sleeping because at that time my parents had already started like sleeping separately, where my dad would sleep downstairs and my mom would sleep upstairs. And so I ran upstairs and I was like, Mama, there's a fire. And then my mom, I remember her scream, get out of the house. So I was like, okay. And by the time I ran downstairs, it was so covered in like thick, hot smoke. Like you really do feel like your lungs are burning from the inside out. Like and it's so thick, like it's like trying to breathe, I don't know, trying to breathe sludge or like trying to breathe paint. Like that's how thick it is. And I try to do what they tell you in school, which is crawl on your hands and knees to be below the smoke. And so I'm on my hands and knees. I still couldn't breathe. So then I'm like army crawling because I still can't breathe and it's freaking hot in the house now. And I'm in my pajamas. And so I grabbed the dog. The dog was doing like just circles underneath the kitchen table. And so I grabbed Precious, my little Maltese, and I threw her outside and told her to stay with my brother. And I told my brother, watch the dog. And then I run back in the house because I decide I need to call 911, obviously. And so I'm army crawling through the living room, and I try to put my hand up in the cradle where the phone should be, you know, because we had a cordless phone. And somebody forgot to put the phone back into the cradle. I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta crawl through this goddamn house and like find the phone. So I'm army crawl through the living room, and I've got like my hand up on the couch, and I'm like digging through the cushions, and finally I see, like, I find the remote had fallen between the cushions, or not the remote, but the phone. And so I grab the phone, army crawl back out of the house. And so I'm on the phone, and my mom comes running out, and she grabs the garden hose, and she's like naked, by the way, because my mom sleeps naked, so just for like the visual. She grabs the garden hose, and she's gonna try to go put the fire out herself. And I'm like yelling, like, you should stay out here, but she's like, you stay out here with your brother. So she runs back in, and there isn't smoke pouring out of our windows yet. Actually, you can't even tell that we have a fire yet, because it's all contained in the back portion of the house, and like the smoke is just now making its way around, but it hasn't come out of the windows. So there's people that can hear all this commotion. So they come out of their houses and they're staring at us, and I'm yelling, help, help, like somebody call 911, call 911. And they're all just standing there like smoking, like, because that's how the people, like, I live in the hood, or I used to live in the hood, and people in the hood just basically don't want to get in anybody else's business, so they'll watch your house burn down. So, and like not do anything about it. And so like I told my brother, you call 911, I'm gonna run next door to try and get help from his friend's parents. So like his friend's parents live next door. So I'm knocking on their door, and I heard them lock the door, and I saw the blinds shut. So basically it means people don't want to help you. So I'm like, okay. So I run back, and this is all like in a matter of like 2 minutes. Like it's very fast. Like all this going fast, fast, fast. And so then I call 911, and I'm telling them my name. I'm 16 years old, and I said my mother's in the house and she's trying to put out the fire. She won't come out. And I said my brother is, I forget how old my brother was. He was 10. My brother's 10 years old, and I go blah blah blah. And then the neighbor from across the street, like across the way, like he's the grandfather of a little girl who would had a crush on my little brother. So he comes running over, and he says, where's your hose? And I said, well, my mom has the hose here in the front. And he says, is there a hose in the back? And I said, yes. And he runs around the back, and all of a sudden I can hear the windows shattering in the back of the house. And I thought he was shattering the windows. I later found out that it was so hot it blew out all the windows in the back of our house. Like the windows were just blowing out because of the heat. And so, you know, I'm on the phone to 911, and then all of a sudden I hear brrrr, and the phone goes dead. And I realized, because I was like, whoa, what was that? And I realized that was because the cradle where the phone, you know, is where you charge the phone, it melted. It was so hot in the house. Like there was no flames or anything that had spread yet to that part of the house, but the smoke and the air was so hot. It was melting everything. Like it was a freaking inferno. It was freaking hot. The fire trucks, I like the fire and the ambulance were there rather quickly. I don't know. I don't remember, like, because probably I was in panic mode. So I don't remember much until like the fire department, you know, showed up. Let's see, going back, it says, Susie says, this reminds me to check my fire alarm today. Yes, do that. But in a flash, all that smoke will ignite. Fire is so scary. Yes, it is. Amanisha, that's kind of creepy, because I just got a notice from somebody that they threw their dog into boiling water, and like they thought of your dog burning. We are a connection. I don't know. Wow, that's kind of weird. Gosh, what happened next? And then the fire department gets my mom out of the house, and I just remember all of a sudden now we're all in the driveway. Like, I don't know, it's like kind of bits and pieces after that. Like all of a sudden now I just know that the fire department is in my house. They were able to somehow get like a robe or something for my mom to cover herself. And she's got like smoke, like all like right here. It's all like black and, excuse me. And my brother's sitting on the steps crying, because I think they were talking to my mother. And then I think I was just, because there's the part where I'm talking to my brother. I don't know. It's like that portion, it starts to get really jumbled. Like I remember the initial, like we're in the house, but then like, I don't know, my memory is a little spotty, like when you get out of the house. So so much stress, the memories are getting fragmented. Yeah, so it's just like pieces. Like normally I got a really good memory, but so then I just remember the piece where my brother is sitting on the stoop in front of our front door, and he's crying, and I'm like, Brian, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And he's like, no, it's my fault, it's my fault. And I said, it's not your fault. I said, you didn't do the fire. And my brother's like, no. He says, Grandma told me that this was gonna happen. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he says, last night, do you remember I called your name before bed? And I said, yeah. And he says, well, that's because Grandma came into my room, and she was in your room too. He says, and she came out of your room and she came into my room and she said, wake your sister up because there's going to be an emergency tomorrow. Wake her up early. And he says, and I'm sorry, I forgot to wake you up early. And he says, and then she went back into your room after that. And then I was like, that's why I felt like there was something going to happen tomorrow. I was like, grandma was in my room, like trying to tell me, but I just couldn't hear her. I just got this like feeling, you know? Hey, Gemini, we're just telling a little story. So my brother like thought this is like all his fault. He says that he thinks that if he woke me up early enough that this would have all been like averted. And I was like, no, you did a good job. Like I said, you came over and you told me that there was a fire and he was like, he says, I tried to put it out myself. And he like rolled his leg over and like on the side of his leg, like right here, it was like charcoal. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was in such a panic. I didn't even notice that my brother's leg was like freaking charcoal, you know? And I was like, you need to show the paramedics like right now. And so I'm like calling the paramedics over and I was like, what did you do? And he says, well, he says, I was getting a drink of orange juice and I'm standing at the sink and out of the corner of my eye, I see like a little something. And you know how we have spirits in our house. I thought it was just a spirit. And he says, but then I looked over and realized, oh, like the computer was on fire. So he says, I ran into the playroom, like I opened the slider, I closed the slider. And Amanisha says, welcome to my life. The crap is every day for me. Oh my gosh. So then he says he tried to stomp out the fire. But we have a pool table that was like right next to the computer and it had like a vinyl cover. Well, the vinyl cover had caught fire, and because it caught fire, it was melting. It had turned to liquid. And so when my brother was trying to stamp out the fire, the liquid vinyl splashed up on his leg, and that was the charcoal that I saw was actually like burnt liquid vinyl that like had attached to my brother's leg, and he had like 2nd and 3rd degree burns, so he got a little bit of skin grafting on that leg. And so, so then he says he saw that his leg was aflame. It was on fire. So he decided to do what they tell you in school, which is stop, drop, and roll. And so he stopped, drop, and rolled, but the fire didn't go out. And so then he had to use his hands to try to put out the fire. He ended up burning his hands too. And then that's when he ran out and he says, and that's when he called me, you know, because he realized he couldn't put it out himself. And so that's why he felt so guilty, felt guilty because he's like, Grandma told me to wake you up early and I didn't do that. I tried to put out the fire and I ended up burning myself. Like, yeah, this is like a 10-year-old kid, you know? You know, so I just felt so bad for my brother. So then the paramedics start loading us into the ambulance, and my mother, by the way, I've mentioned my mother's a piece of work. My mother starts arguing with the paramedics. She says, my daughter's 16, she could drive us to the hospital. And the paramedics are like, ma'am, we do not know how much smoke inhalation that you have taken in or that your daughter has taken in, or in fact your son, who has what looks like apparently 3rd degree burns on his leg. We need to get them to a hospital right now. My mom was like, well, what hospital would we go to? We need to go to Kaiser because we have Kaiser. And they said Kaiser does not have a burn unit. Sharp Hospital does. And so we're going to be taking you to Sharp Memorial. And so my mom's like, no. She's like, you're not taking me to Sharp because our hospital is Kaiser. And they're like, ma'am, your children could be suffering from smoke inhalation right now. We don't know if there's damage to their lungs or to their hearts, to their brains, to you yourself, ma'am. And they said, we need to get you into the ambulance. My mom's like, no, you can't make me. She's my daughter will drive us. She's 16. She'll drive us. And they're like, your daughter is in no condition to drive. And she's like, do you know how much this is going to raise our insurance? I don't even know how many ambulance rides we have on our insurance plan. And I'm like, Mom, we've never gone in an ambulance before. My mom's like, don't you correct me. Like, this'll just raise our insurance. I don't want our insurance to be raised because of this like thing. Like my parents thought that like health insurance was like auto insurance. Like if you get into an accident, it raises your insurance. So my parents were under the impression that like if you ever use your insurance to go to the hospital, somehow that would raise your bill. They're not that smart in that area. So, so like, so they finally convinced my mother that I'm in no condition to drive and that we should go to the hospital. And I was like grabbing my mom and I'm like, Mama, we need to go to the hospital. Okay, I'm not driving. And my mom's like, so finally she sits there and they give her like a little oxygen thing to like breathe or whatever because she refused to lay down. So we're just sitting in the back of the ambulance. We're not laying down or anything. And then we make our way gingerly to Sharp Hospital. And then I remember all of a sudden being in a room in Sharp Hospital where they have you laying down on the bed, and there was like all these like doctors and nurses, and they're all trying to take like my blood and my blood pressure and feeling, listening for my heart rate. And then a doctor said, what we're going to do is we need to stick a camera down your throat because we need to take a look into your lungs, okay? And I was like, okay. And so they said, we'll give you something to numb your throat. So I drank this thing and whatever, it numbs your throat. And so they're going to like go stick the camera down. And I'm like, I was like, I can't do that. And they're like, okay, well, another way that we do it is we go up your nose and down your throat. And that usually bypasses the gag reflex. And I was like, and I'm like traumatized now. And so they do something that like numbs my nose and they're trying to stick the camera up my nose. And so while I have one nurse that's trying to fight to get a camera up my nose, I have somebody else who's like, they're like, drawing blood, but where they're drawing blood from is, where you got that huge artery right there up at the top of in your groin. And so they're drawing blood from there. And all of a sudden I hear my brother screaming, because I think they were now in the process of like scraping off the stuff that had stuck to his legs. So of course that's going to be painful. So my brother's screaming, and in my brain I go into save my brother mode because I'm still in like shock, so I'm like a little overwhelmed by everything that's going on. There's all these people in the room. Somebody's like taking blood from my groin. There's somebody trying to shove a camera up my nose. I hear my brother screaming. And so I was like, you leave my brother alone. Okay, this is like psycho 16-year-old terror, okay? Like, you leave my brother alone. You're hurting my brother. And so I kicked my leg and I literally kicked a doctor in the face. I'm sorry. I was freaking out. And so then I thought they were drawing blood again, but I think they must have stabbed me with something because they like stabbed a needle into my other leg. And I was like thinking they're taking more blood. But really, I think that was to calm me down because after that I was like, I'm chill. And I like stopped fighting and they just like put the like camera down my nose. I was like, cool. I'm not fighting anymore. I was just like so chill on the bed. Hold on, my audio is gonna get a little funky because I'm in low power mode, so I have to plug in my external battery. It says get the mellow drugs. Yes, they mellowed me the heck out. Okay, hold on. Okay, so like I said, audio is not that cool anymore. Sorry. Sherry Bug said cool. Probably diazepam. Who knows what it was? So I'm just like, I'm chill. Like, you want to take some blood? That's cool. You want to shove cameras up my nose? Like, great. I'm cool. So then they do all they need to do. Next thing I remember is I'm in a wheelchair because I'm like not able to walk right now. And one of the nurses comes over and she's like, do you have, who's somebody that we can call? And I was like, my dad? And then they're like, why does this girl look drugged? And they're like, they totally didn't admit that they drugged me. And she's like, you had blood drawn and everything. You shouldn't be feeling like this. Says, why don't they do that to begin with is strange. That's what I'm saying. You got this like hysterical
teenager. I mean, just you knock that teenager out. This teenager just track and field. She was a little strong, you know. so so yeah, I'm like, you call my dad. He works at, you know, so I tell him where he works. I was like, I don't know his number off the top of my head, but I can look in the yellow pages or the white pages. So I go in the white pages. Hey, Richie, what's up? And so I look up my dad's work, and I was like, so I call up, and I got his boss on the phone, and they're like, oh, he's like, your father just left, like literally a couple of minutes ago. He's already driving home. I was like, oh, because half the house is burned. That sucks. You know, I'm like so like out of it. And so then they said, okay. And so I was like, my dad's on his way home. And they're like, is there anybody else we can call? Yeah, my cousin. You can call my cousin. It says, yeah, and write it on the chart that they have given you the drugs. Yeah, but they claim they didn't drug me. I'm pretty sure I was drugged. I am not that chill. So then I call my cousin, and I remember getting my cousin on the phone, and she lived nearby. So she's like, I'll pick you up. And they said that they wouldn't be able to take my brother or my mother home that night, that they were going to be staying over, because my mom had a little bit too much smoke inhalation, because obviously she stayed in the house longer than we did. So they just wanted to keep a just like an eye on everything. And then my brother was going to be getting some skin grafting done to his leg because of his 3rd-degree burns, and then he had some 2nd-degree burns, and then he had 1st and 2nd degree, you know, on his hands. So yeah, so they stayed longer. And then I must have gone to my cousin's house that day, but or I must have spent the night, but I don't remember. Like, that part of my memory is like all kind of blanked out. Like, I remember getting in the car with my cousin and her husband, and then my next memory is actually of the next day, where my cousin drove me back to the hospital so that we could pick up my mom and my brother, and I think my dad was there too. And then I remember coming back to the house, like that part I remember, like somehow my dad's now there too. I don't know, like my memory is like pretty fuzzy, like right there. And I'm missing like that whole chunk of time. But then I remember when we get back to the house, and that giant fan is there. There's like a giant fan like in the doorway of the house that's like trying to like, you know, dry everything out. Carmen said, fire is the worst. I lost mostly everything in a fire, but grateful I am here with my family. Yeah, that's always what's most important, as long as like you and your family are okay. American healthcare is kind of weird. A little bit. So, and Sharp is known as like one of our like better hospitals, at least like in like terms of care and stuff like that. So like in the house though, it was so weird because like the back of the house is all charcoaly. There's like plastic over the windows that have blown out. And there's what looks like black cobwebs everywhere. And we later learned from like the firefighters who came back for their fan later on, that those aren't cobwebs. They said they call them like smoke cobwebs or fire webs or whatever. But basically it's like it's like ash that clings together like cobwebs, and it looks like your house is full of black cobwebs. Like, it's so weird. And then it leaves like this oily black residue on like your walls and everything like that. And so we had to clean all of that up, which was like, it was so gross. And a lot of it didn't come off unless you used like steel wool. Yes, and everything smells like fire. Like everywhere, it just smells like smoke. And in my bedroom, like the stuffed animals that were on my bed, like they all had like ash that had fallen on them, so they all needed to be washed and everything. But this, like the heaviness of like the smoke, usually it didn't really make it past the living room, so it didn't make it too far into the bedrooms. I mean, there was like a little bit of ash in the bedrooms, but not like in the living room and in the kitchen and the back part of the house. What was interesting though is although it was hot enough to melt the cradle where the phone was, and our blinds were melted, like there was this bookcase that was in between our two windows in the living room, and the blinds had drooped and they had melted. Like, I've never seen melted blinds before. That's kind of an eerie looking sight. But in this bookcase, there's a plastic picture frame of my brother and I. It was fine. Like, it says, ma'am, how's your conversation with a super creator going on with our 3 of Cups? Whole week I was thinking about it. I really love the energy. All thanks to you. Well, you're welcome. You know, I've just kind of been sitting with that energy, actually. I haven't really done any more talking, just kind of sitting with that, contemplating things. So yeah, this plastic picture frame, which has a picture of my brother and I, it's fine. In between 2 windows of melted blinds. Above our like little desk where we had like the Rolodex, you know, where you keep people's addresses and phone numbers, and our like phone. Above it is like an old picture of like my great grandmother from Ireland on my mom's side. And it's like basically kind of like that old colorized looking photos where they try to colorize the black and white, and it's got like a plastic bubble cover on it, and it's got like this wooden frame, and it was like oval shaped, and it was above the office desk thing, and that didn't melt, but everything on the desk melted or burned. And I was like, and so I asked the firefighters about this, and I said, this is interesting. I said, everything that we value, like photographs and stuff like that, they didn't melt in our house, but everything else did. And they said, well, sometimes there's things called hot pockets, not the food, but they said there's these hot pockets, and they said you get hot pockets around the house where sometimes parts of the house will superheat and it melts things. They said you just happen to be lucky that every picture in your house didn't melt, but you know, other things did. So consider yourselves lucky. You still have, you know, your pictures, and you know, in your family, at least they're safe. And I was like, yeah, but that's like still kind of weird. Oh, and check this out. When we went into that back room, which was now like totally destroyed, it was just like charred, all the windows gone, and this like extension of the house, I had left my Barbie dolls on the bar. There was like a wet bar that was my grandmother's, because it was my grandparents' house. I had left my 2 Barbie dolls. They were my 1996 figure ice skating Ken and Barbie. And they were on top of the bar. The bar charcoaled, everything charcoal. You know what's not charcoaled? My freaking Barbie dolls. Like, how does everything charcoal? And they were sitting literally like a foot away from the flames. Like, they were engulfed, like there was fire around them, and like my Barbie dolls were fine. And I was like, that's just weird. I said, how is like the house like ruined, but like plastic photograph, fine. Like picture of great grandma, fine. Like my Barbie dolls, fine. And they're in the fire room. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Maybe that's just how fire works. I'm not like I'm versed in having lots of houses on fire, but I just thought that was strange. I still have those Barbie dolls, by the way. They were unaffected. I mean, they were a little dirty. Had to clean them up, but yeah, otherwise not melted. Says grandma has taken care of the important things, and apparently one of those was my Barbie dolls. Susie says lucky. I think it meant more. Yeah, you know, I like to think so. Yeah, my dad, however, he was so upset. Like he was upset that my mom had gotten smoke inhalation. He was upset that my brother had burned himself, and my dad doesn't really know how to work with like upset feelings. So his way of talking about emotions is to be mad at you. So he was mad at my brother for burning himself, and he was mad at my mom for burning her lungs. And so he was like, blamed my brother for the fire. He was like, it's your fault. You know, you're the one playing on that computer all the time. And if you weren't playing on the computer all the time, it wouldn't have short circuited, because that's what happened. It was a faulty wiring, and it like overrode the whatever wall socket there, and caused a spark and lit the place on fire. It says, yeah, fire. Don't like Barbie. We all know that. Lady Knight said, oh no, I'm so late. I'll go and stand in the corner. Girl. Don't worry about it. Can we have one video on past life? We could probably do that next week. Ooh, or I could even make a separate video and like, you know, post that for you guys for sure. So yeah, that was interesting. That was something, you know, my brother and I, we've kind of always talked about. Of course, he still always feels like a little guilty, you know, for that, even though I know it's like not his fault. Not me, says I'm late too. No worries. Hey man, no worries. And Ola says, how are you? How are you? I am doing great. So, what animal is on your shirt? It is a sloth. Yeah, it's not his fault. You know, but yeah, my dad still blames him. He's still like, anytime the fire is ever brought up, he's like, oh, he goes, oh, the one that your brother caused. I was like, Brian did not cause the fire. He says, yeah, he did. He's always on that stupid computer. And he says, and that's probably why it shorted out. I said, he wasn't even on the computer at the time. I said, that was Grandpa's rebuilt computer. Like my grandfather would rebuild computers. I said, Grandpa like rebuilt it with faulty wiring, and it like, and then there was fire. My dad's just like, he says, well, if your brother didn't play it on it all the time, probably wouldn't have done that. That is my dad. Yes, strange dad logic. It's just his way of like putting blame onto something, because it can't just be like he has to have somebody to blame all the time. Like somebody is always at fault for something. It can't just be the house's fault or faulty wiring. Like it needs to be a person who is responsible, because you could be mad at a person, but he can't be mad at like electricity. So I think that's just like how my dad's brain works, is like if something's wrong, he needs to find a person to be mad at, because you can't be mad at like thin air or electricity or faulty wiring or, you know. Anywho, oh yeah, I was gonna do the spirit board with you guys. What time are we at? We could still do a spirit board. Yes, hello, hola. As that's some twisted Pinocchio and Geppetto stuff. That's what I'm talking about, Garrett. Ruchi says all parents are like this, I think. I think parents are weird. Ola said, one question, how can I develop my intuition? I think it's just listening to your gut mostly. I have actually a whole series, if you want to check it out, in my playlist. Go under where it says improve your psychic ability. Actually go on there. I have like a whole plethora of videos of like activities that you can try out. So definitely check that out. Jezebel said, if he never used the computer, you wouldn't have a computer, and then the computer wouldn't have burned. That makes sense. Yeah, that's dad logic. Ola says, I'm intuitive, but it's kind of all over the place. I think that's like that for a lot of people. We got like intuition popping out everywhere, and that's just part of being human. But yeah, try out those exercises. Let me know, because I try to make like short, fun little exercises just for you to be able to like maybe like hone in on your intuition, see what's strongest for you, maybe parts of yourself that you want to like make a little bit stronger. Yeah, it's just all part of being human. But anyway, let's see, spirit board. I don't know, Wally, can I do the spirit board with you on my lap? Maybe. Okay, let's do this. I have my candle going, as you guys saw. And I have my little angel light stone. Oh, gotta go lunchtime? All right, Garrett, well, you have yourself a great lunch. I have my spirit board here. This is my little cat ouija, and it's the one that doesn't creep me out. So, all right, Wally, I'm gonna try to do this with you on my lap. How about them beans? So we'll do this, and then I'll do a little message for you guys at the end, a little healing, and then guys be on your way. But I don't know, I've had fun doing like story time with you guys. We were talking about all sorts of things, scary movies, scary games that twisted little children like to play. Got into some like weird stories of my own. Jezebel said, Ruchi, my parents aren't like that. Sometimes, even if we did start something, they would find reason for it not to be our fault because accidents do happen. Exactly. So yes, Garrett, you have a wonderful, wonderful lunch. Okay. Wally, I'm gonna center my energy because my energy is all over in like storytelling mode right now. So I just need it to focus a little bit more, and then I can use this. I don't like my energy to be all over the place. So give me just a second. I'm just gonna sip some tea and like find my center. Okay. Okay. Says Kitty Spirit Board, so cute. No scary stuff can come through there. Exactly. I mean, really, what bad stuff's gonna come through with these two little kitties? Like none. There's a way to like not make me so ghosty. Okay. Wally, I have to actually use my left hand, okay? I can't use my right hand. Left hand, that is where it's like my receptive side, so I just... Okay. If the energy of one of my relatives would like to come through, which I know you guys are always here anyways, but excuse me, I am using my cat Ouija board. And Grandma, I know that Ouija boards probably freak you out, so don't think of it as a Ouija board. Think of it just as a tool that I'm using to talk to you guys. Although, yes, I know I could talk to you guys anytime, but this is just like a fun way for me to try and connect with you guys. So if like Grandpa Gypto or Grandpa or Nana or Grandma or Cousin Selena or anybody would like to come through, let's go ahead and do this. So you can spell something out. You can go to a letter that would let me know who you are. It's like spirit text messaging. That is very true. And they're probably going to have to text because spelling out long things probably too difficult. So what I do, if you guys are, let me maybe turn this down so you guys can see. So I'm gonna lower this, so don't mind the noise. Okay, so I like to use my left hand because that's my receptive hand. Ruchi said, never seen this. So when it moves, it's not that I feel a pull or anything. It's usually that I feel the energy coming through me and then I'm pushing it, you know. So maybe for some people it works another way where they actually feel the thing moving on its own. That's not in my case. So I'm actually moving it, but I'm moving it to where I feel it needs to be moved, if that makes sense. So it's actually just like coming through this arm. And you like that it's got the little paw print? That's so cute. So fingers on the paw. I'm gonna start here. And okay. That landed on the letter P. Do I know anybody who starts with the letter P? You know, the first thing that came to mind was Pinoy. Pinoy is Filipino. That's like my grandpa, Grandpa Gypto. My dad's dad from the Philippines. So Gypto, is this you? Okay, so it's not my grandpa. Please give me some other letters. I might know who this is. What letter is this? PV. Does that make sense to anybody? PV? Like initials maybe? PV. Amanisha, yes. PV. Says my Filipino friend Paolo passed away last week. Oh, it could be him. So let's ask, says Paolo. Or Susie said post-virus. Oh, dude. Okay, let's first ask if it's Paolo, and then we'll ask if they meant post-virus. Okay, so Paolo, is this you? Okay, so it went to bye. So if this was Paolo, Paolo has left the room. So possibly just like a little hello. So now I'm going to ask if PV means post-virus. So hold on, I'm just scrolling up. Sorry for the hand. And I do send you, love and light for your friend and for you and your friend's family as well. PV post-virus. Okay, so I asked, is PV post-virus? The number that comes up is the number 3. I'm a little confused, so we have a lot of brains in this room. You guys try and put some stuff together. We have PV. One of them could have been Paolo, so P could have been for him, but it looks like he left the room because we have goodbye. And now we have the number 3. I'm going to put this back here. This is Pauline. I used to have a friend named Pauline too. Let me scoot a little bit closer. We're on the letter I. Okay, I. C, I see. M, U, J, K. Okay, it's gonna stop there. So I see MUJK. Mujk. Uh, uh, hmm. I see. No, M, as in like Michael. So I see MUJK. Mujk. Numerology. Oh, Amanisha, could you put those numbers together for me real quick? Because it did have a number 3 in there before, remember? Patience? Maybe? Mujk. Mujk. Hmm. Oh, you know what? Mu, is not in Arabic. JK, joke, joke, not joke. Third planet from the sun, pandemic virus. Okay, me putting the stuff together, I see not joke. MU for me means not in like mu in Arabic, Arabi. Um, so I see not joke, like JK, like joking. I see not joke. I see not jack. I see not joke. Joke. 3. And 3 is triangle, which is like my favorite shape. Um, so Sherry Bug thinks it says, I see much. Oh, Sherry Bug, you could be right too. Okay, so you see much. So then let's go off of what Sherry Bug is saying then. So you see much. Hey man, like if I'm a spirit and I'm trying to work with some chick who's like working a board with some letters on it, my spelling might be a little off. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these spirits some slack. I'm just saying. Okay. So although maybe the person who's in the room, maybe your initials are PV, in which case I don't personally know you, but there are some names that came up like Paolo, Pauline, things like that. Some people think post-fire. So whoever you are, I don't feel a creepy energy, so I feel like you're, you're cool. You see much. What is your message though? So you see much. The number 8. For all my numerology people out there. So Spirit doesn't have autocorrect, unfortunately. Okay, so 8. We can see 8 as, think of all your suits in tarot. You have your 8 of Wands, which is movement. You have your 8 of Swords, which is like feeling trapped, anxiety. You have your 8 of Cups, which is like moving away from something. You have your 8 of Pentacles, which is like working towards something. But it's all about movement, or in some cases, stagnant if you think about the swords. But you want to move away from that feeling. So it is all about movement. Either in your cups energy, your wands energy, the swords needing to move out of something. Amanisha said Sanskrit. Oh, Amanisha, what do you get in Sanskrit? I'm not up on my Sanskrit. But yeah, so 8 is movement. So you see much, you see movement. Okay, that's what I'm getting with the 8. Oh, by the way, 8's also in sideways infinity. So infinite. So you see much, you see infinite, movement, maybe, possibly. Another message that you have for us. R E You. REU. REU. Anybody know REU? So Sherry Bug said, oh, see infinite. Yeah, third eye. To me, 8 can also be returning to stability after chaos, the 7. Yeah, so Sherry, or Lady Night, yeah, REU. Row? Rue? Isn't that street in French? I know that's not the French spelling, but I think row or rue. I forget how you pronounce it, but I know that means street in French. Maybe street or something else if you guys can think of it. Yeah, that's how you spell it. So you see much, you see infinity, or you see infinitely, or you see stability, possibly after chaos. We still had that number 3 though, remember, which is also a very stable, strong number that I see. Power of 3, many religions have the number 3 in it. If you think of Christianity, they talk about the Holy Trinity. There are a lot of other religions that do talk about 3s. So let's see, Ru means soul in Hindi. Oh, it says, I'm sorry, I have to ask if they see my separated husband and future of my marriage. Well, let's try to figure out what their message is here first. See, working hard to move forward in infinite love. 8th house. That could be it too. So yeah, Ru could be street, could be soul, like Ruchi said in Hindi. And the Amanisha said muj. Okay, so you see infinite soul. I think that actually makes sense. Instead of an infinite street, you see infinite soul. This is deep, you guys. See what I'm talking about? I love this Ouija board. It's like very positive, like good energy. Okay, so you see infinite soul. I'm just going to keep this up here. FD. FD6. And now I'm getting goodbye. So I think they're done with their message. FD6. Yes. FD6. FD6. I'm like, okay, photo 6 doesn't make sense. Photo 6. Photosynthesis? I don't know how I'm getting photosynthesis out of FD6, but FD6. Well, so far it was good stuff. I see infinite soul, so this was definitely a big energy. And then they left with FD6, fixed deposit in 6 number, 46th president voting on the 3rd. No offense, anyone. 3 is a sign of groups. Ruchi says, I'm sorry, but I just felt. What did you feel? FD6, 40, 56. 56. 56. 5, 6 is 11. 11 is 2, but you could also separate it as 2 being beginnings, but with cooperation. Foundations being rehashed and balanced. Yeah. Yeah, so if we take FD6 and think of 56, 56, 5 and 6, You could take the numbers 5 and 6 and look at those, but if you put them together, they make the number 11. You break it down further, you have the power of 2 ones, which is 2 very strong beginnings. And then you have the number 2 as well, if you want to add the 1 and the 1 together, numerologically speaking, which is about partnerships. And balance as well, like you said, balance and connection. So when it said, I see infinite soul, through there, you have your new beginnings and possibly some new connections, new partnerships. So this might be more of like a global scale. I don't know if this was anybody like in particular. I didn't really feel like it was for like any one of us personally, but I think this is more like a mass message. And I don't feel like there's any, like I don't feel any more energy here. So like I don't think I can really move this anymore because I feel like whatever was here is now gone. They said bye-bye. They went to the sleepy kitty, and they are out. Yeah, so 56. So let me lift this up again. Sorry for the noise, you guys. Okay. Ruchi's like, you solved the puzzle. Yeah, so I mean, I'm guessing that's what the message is. But you guys also had some really good input as well. So yeah, 56. I see infinite soul through that infinite soul, which is what we have. We have infinite souls, new beginnings, and partnerships. Interesting. So Susie said that was fun. Thank you. You're very welcome. So yeah, I love, you know, this and my other board. They're very non-creepy. That's like a very positive energy that came through, and I dig that. I'm just going to ask my Muse Tarot before we go. Fixed deposits, the stimulus package. That too. Actually, I just got my stimulus check deposited a couple days ago, I think. So, and that would also be like working together, helping. New beginnings. 3 is an angel, meaning body connection to mind. Ooh. Yeah, and I think all of these, like, I don't think it's just one meaning. I think it's meant to have like a broad range of meanings. If somebody's going to come through and take the energy to come through me and make a message, like, you might as well make a message that has a lot of messages attached to it. So what you guys are coming up with, I think, is like everything that's attached to it. Like, yes, I have like one piece of it maybe, you know, but you guys also have like the other pieces of it. So that's why I always love to see when you guys comment, because you guys have like the other parts that I can't see. So I'm just gonna ask for one last message before we go. I'm gonna send you guys off with a little healing, and then we'll go about our Saturday. But this has been fun. Again, sorry for the ghostiness. I'm like, so ghosty. Okay, so just possibly a clarifier. I just want to see, like, are we getting the message correct? Are we talking about I see infinite soul? Soul is new beginning and partnerships, but also talking about the mind-body connection, which is the power of 3. Also what other people were talking about, like the stimulus package and all of that stuff. Ooh. And I think that's our confirmation. Muse of emotions, that is the King of Cups, meaning you guys pour forth your intuition. You guys are doing great. It says, you were going so early today. It was so interesting. Girl, it's been 124 minutes. Let me just go back up and look. Coldest Fire says 56. 5s are conflict and movement. 6s are all about harmony and balance. So to me, 3 being connected to mind, body, and soul. Yeah, exactly. So what you guys were all saying, and then, you know, what I said too, it's like all of you guys are this is like the confirmation. You guys are doing great. You're pouring forth from your intuition. You guys, nobody's like wrong. You know, it's a huge message. It's multiple messages, and that's like all of us coming together. Just like, you know what? From a distance, this kind of looks like a scarab. I know it's two people back to back, but through the camera, it kind of looked like a scarab and its wings. I like that. That's kind of cool. Amanisha says, I'm worried mine hasn't come. I think they're all still like being sent out. Like not everybody has them. My dude doesn't have his yet. Like, you know, not everybody has theirs. Some people that do direct deposit for their taxes, like they got theirs direct deposit. Some people, they get checks back sometimes from their taxes. You're going to be waiting for a check. Susie, you're very welcome. So I'm going to pull another card to see what my focus should be to send you guys some good vibes as we end our chat today. So what should be the focus? Focus. Have a little sip of tea on that. There we go. How apropos. The focus should be the Two of Cups. Remember the one and the one, the two. If that isn't a message. So yes, the energy that I'm going to be sending you guys is the energy of the message. The ones, the two, you know, the two ones, the Two of Cups, the relationships, the connections. You guys were talking about also with the three, the mind, body, spirit, like all those are connections. So let's send some good energy out to you guys all about connection. Somebody came in here earlier talking about, you know, how they can get more connected to their intuition. Again, that's connection. So whatever connections you would like to be open to, maybe then this is the energy you want to be open to for this particular healing. So I'm gonna have that as my intention as I pump out this energy. Is all about connection. Cold as Fire, you are very, very welcome. I love coming on here and like hanging out with you guys. It's been fun. It's like having you guys in my my dining room here, and we could just like chill out by the fireplace. I know it's not going. Don't need to because it's a little too warm, but but you know, it's always a lot of fun. I do appreciate every one of you guys. So, okay, if you want to be open to it, you could say it out loud, you could say it in your brain, you could say it in the comments that you are open to this feeling of connection and whatever that may mean. And I just remembered, connection is my word for the year. I wrote it down in my bullet journal. That's like my word for this year, so it's interesting. All right, so let's do this. Alrighty, That's an interesting energy. Oh, hey, there's the Lokester there to finish up the energy for you guys. So yeah, I was pumping out all that connection energy, and what popped up in my mind is how I've seen myself a couple of times in my meditations whenever I'm in the Akashic records, as this like bright blue being, with kind of like no eyes. It's like glowy, but there's always a symbol I see, and it's here, and it's the triangle, and it always lights up, as well as like my heart area, just like all being like light. And it's like, yeah, and it was with all these blue beings that all had triangles on their forehead, and we were all like pumping out this energy. So yay. So anyway, a lot to sit with. You have role model energy. Aw, thank you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this chat. Lots of all over the place with our stories and all kinds of good time. And I will catch you guys next Saturday. I have some fun videos lined up for you guys for this week. So I hope you guys enjoy them. And yeah, I enjoy doing this. And school, online school will start up for me on Monday. So we'll see how my kiddos do online. But anyway, wishing you all a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys have a bomb-tastic week. I hope you are open to having some awesome connections throughout the week. Let me know on Saturday when we meet again, how connection like worked with you. Did you see me reading tarot in the opera? I did not. You were? That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. Like backstage or as part of the role, because like in Carmen, I know that they're reading some tarot. Oh, the video's up on your channel then, girl. That's where I'm headed after this live chat, you know. So yeah, you guys all have a wonderful day. Lady night. I'm gonna go check out your video right after this uploads, and yeah, I'll leave you a comment. So you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for hanging out. The boys, thank you. Logie ran off. He finished my plate of food while he was here, but he's probably sleeping with his daddy. So thank you, Cold as Fire and Lady Night and Ruchi and all of you guys and Sherry Bug and Almanisha, everybody. So anyway, peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys.